Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to day 11. Day 11 of Exodus, a chapter a day. Well, more or less. Yeah, we've missed a couple days. Otherwise, we'd be farther along, right? But anyway, we are here with day 11. Day 11. Excuse me. So it is Wednesday. Not really. For me, it's Tuesday, but for you guys, it's Wednesday. I appreciate your understanding that I am going to have to, that I did have to pre record this one for you. But things happen, right? So, anyway, it is Wednesday, Ash Wednesday in particular. I'm Brian. I'm the pastor here at Christ United Methodist Church. Yeah, so just that's your reminder. Ash Wednesday, it's the first day of Lent. Join us this evening at 7 o'clock for our Ash Wednesday worship experience. Would suggest you have a few things at home. Have a candle, um, small amount of dirt, soil of some form, a small amount of water, and anything else you need for your worship space. You know, a Bible's always good, and so is a cross or something like that. Whatever you feel you need to have in order to be to really be in to be centered and to be able to focus on worship, that would be outstanding. But in particular, I would ask you to have those three things with you. And we will be starting our series on crosswords, the last 7 things that Jesus said, all of which he said while he was hanging on the cross on that very first Good Friday. So for tonight, it is Father, forgive them. I didn't tell you that yesterday, did I? I just told you the verses that it would be coming from. But you've probably already read it, and that's what it is. And then we'll be continuing, of course, on Sunday, which will be back to in person worship, as well as continuing to do it right here online, uh, live streamed here on Facebook and also on YouTube. So if you're not comfortable being in person, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We will continue to offer that opportunity for you to connect with us in worship. But if you're in the area and you do want to join us in person, you can do that 8:15 and 10:45 for in person, 10:45 only for online. 10:45 only for online. So we're going to get right into it today. Chapter 11. It's not a very long chapter. It's actually only 10 verses. So this might be a little bit shorter one, but we'll make up for that in some way, shape, or form. Probably, I'll probably end up talking a lot. Then Hashem said to Moses, "I will strike Pharaoh in the land of Egypt with one more blow. After that, Pharaoh will let you leave this country. In fact, he will be so eager to get rid of you that he will force you all to leave. Tell all the Israelite men and women to ask their Egyptian neighbors for articles of silver and gold." Now Hashem had caused the Egyptians to look favorably on the people of Israel, and Moses was considered a very great man in the land of Egypt, respected by Pharaoh's officials and the Egyptian people alike. Pause. What I should have probably maybe even said this earlier. We've got um, this is broken down into this chapter. Basically, three things take place. We have a conversation between God and Moses. Then we have a conversation between Moses and Pharaoh. Then we again have a conversation between God and Moses. And yes, that is rather typical for how that it's not the first time that that has occurred in this book of Exodus. But it's been a while since we've had it this specific. This specific. Now, these opening couple verses, though, have a couple interesting things to them. We don't yet, God hasn't said yet. I paused before we said yet what it's going to be, what the plague is going to be. But God says, I'm going to bring another one on them, and this is going to be so bad. Not only is Pharaoh going to let you go, he's going to force you to leave. He's going to drive you out. Parenthetically, the authors put in something in here saying that Hashem made made the Egyptians look favorably upon the Israelites, and Moses was considered such a great man. You know, the actuality really isn't there for that, and we know that from our prior readings, plus how the next part of this conversation goes. So it's probably something inserted to help us understand what takes place. God says to tell them to ask for gold and silver. There's a couple different reasons for this, or considered to be, I guess I should say, explanations for why that's in there and why it takes place. One is that this is a reconfirming what God has said earlier, that you would be stripping Egypt of its money and stuff when you leave. Some commentators say this goes along with one of the rules that comes up in I think it's in Deuteronomy. I should have looked that one up while I was thinking of it, regarding like the Great Release, the Liberation, the Year of Jubilee, whenever a slave has served their time and is to be set free, they were to be compensated with money to get them started in their new life, and so some scholars think that that's part of what's taking place here when the authors talk about this. It's saying that making that connection to that year of release, that release of slaves that's commanded in elsewhere in the law, which is interesting. Continuing from verse 4, Moses had announced to Pharaoh, "This is what Hashem says, at midnight tonight, I will pass through the heart of Egypt. All the firstborn sons will die in every family in Egypt, from the oldest son of Pharaoh who sits on his throne to the oldest son of the lowliest servant girl who grinds the flour. Even the firstborn of all the livestock will die. Then a loud wail will rise throughout the land of Egypt, a wail like no one has heard before or will ever hear again. But among the Israelites, it will be so peaceful that not even a dog will bark. Then you will know that Hashem makes a distinction between the Egyptians and the Israelites. All the officials of Egypt will run to me and fall to the ground before me. Please leave, they will beg. Hurry and take all your followers with you. Only then will I go." Then, burning with anger, Moses left Pharaoh. Pause. Probably should have paused halfway through, but just figured let's go through that whole thing. There is a lot going on there, though. So God had told Moses what to say. Moses makes this pronouncement to Pharaoh. This is what the plague is going to be: death of the firstborn. God says it's going to happen at midnight. Which it actually is kind of still connecting into that idea of darkness, and it's one more slap against Ra too, we would say, because in the middle of the night, when chaos reigns supreme, the absolute darkest time of the day of a 24-hour period is when this is going to happen. Chaos will happen exactly at midnight, and you're not going to be able to see it happen. You're not going to be able to I guess that's about it. You're not going to be able to see it happen. It's just going to happen. I will pass through the heart of Egypt. All the firstborn sons will die. The choice of verbs and stuff in there is very interesting. And it's confusing at the same time in Hebrew. We often think that God killed them. Hashem does not use the verb, though. Does not say, I will kill all the firstborn. And it almost sounds, In a way, the words can be translated, I will let them die. Since God is the source of life, God could let them die rather than that. Now, I should also point out, because I've said before, these plagues can each be seen as a direct attack from Hashem God upon one of the gods of Egypt. One of the greatest gods of Egypt is this guy right here. This guy right here is one of the greatest gods of Egypt. He's one of the big three, big five, whichever. His name is Osiris. Osiris, Osiris, Osiris. And he's seen as the god of life. He's also seen as the god of the dead, responsible for taking care of them and ushering them. And he's also seen as the god of rebirth. The god of rebirth. The Nile was considered to be like his bloodline, his vein flowing through the country of Egypt, giving life wherever it went. And so this God requires the ultimate strike from Hashem. The ultimate strike from Hashem. It's the last one. It's the last one. It's the last one. Now, God, and it says in here, Moses' pronouncement about the whole thing, he says, a loud wail will rise throughout the land of Egypt. Your translation may say cry instead of wail, which is fine. Obviously similar word, same word that's used in chapter 1, 2, and 3 a couple times in those chapters when the people cry out. Chapter 2 and chapter 3, when the people cry out, the Hebrews, all the slaves and those that are pushed down and looked down upon, cry out to God, and God hears them. Okay, but now it's no longer the Hebrews, it's no longer the Israelites who are going to be doing the crying. It's going to be the Egyptians doing the crying, with a cry or a wail like no one has heard before. That similar or same thing was used, the same superlative was used to describe a couple of the plagues, correct? You guys remember that, right? A fire and hail unlike any seen before, locusts, storms unlike any seen before, and darkness unlike any seen before. And that's it. But this one's different, because this wail, not only will this wail be unlike any heard before or ever hear again. A description showing the difference between this and the other plagues, and a description showing how intense and how deep this wail was. This cry would be, because it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. But again, God is describing, Moses is saying, God, Hashem will make a difference, because in the land of Goshen, not even a dog will be heard to bark. So the contrast, not only is there the contrast in the darkness, there was the contrast of the light and dark, the dark throughout all the land except in Goshen, and now it's going to be the difference between this wail and silence, that not even a dog is going to bark, because they're not going to have anything to cry about. They're not going to have anything to cry about. And Moses, of course, is continuing with his description and his explanation. He said, your people will beg us to leave, beg me to leave. Then burning with anger, Moses left Pharaoh. The author maybe taking a little bit of poetic license there, but he probably was angry by this point, and that it's come to this, and it's all on you, Pharaoh. It's all on you. You had so many chances. It's all on you, and I'm just so angry that it's come to this. Now Hashem had told Moses earlier, Pharaoh will not listen to you, but then I will do even more mighty acts in the land of Egypt. Moses and Aaron performed these miracles in Pharaoh's presence, but Hashem hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he wouldn't let the Israelites leave the country. End of chapter. Now this last couple verses sounds weird. They actually seem out of place, don't they? They seem out of place, especially that God says, I'm going to perform even more mighty acts, but God's already said this is going to be the last one. And it says Moses and Aaron performed these miracles in the sight of Pharaoh. Well, they already did. They're not performing new ones. They're not performing new ones. They've already done it. And they've already done it. So here's, I guess this is part of the thing. There were different traditions coming together to create the Exodus. So this is an excellent example of it. And some traditions were saying kind of one thing, and others traditions were saying something else. And rather than silencing any of them or anything like that, they just kind of coalesced and brought them together and lay them both out there, lay multiple traditions out in one story. And we mostly only see it when we go slow, which is an important thing to do when you're reading the Bible. It's like rule number one is to slow down. If you really want to study something in the Bible, you slow down. You slow down. So there we are. That's the end of chapter 11. Like I said, it was a short chapter, and this was a relatively short recording, I think. I don't remember what time I actually started at. So tomorrow we will get to chapter 12, which will make up for it because that's a pretty long chapter and there's a lot of stuff going on. And that'll be tomorrow. That'll be on Thursday, which again will be live right here at 9 o'clock, right here at 9 o'clock on Facebook. Or on Zoom. If you wanted to join me on Zoom, you can certainly do that. All right, friends, thank you for watching. Thank you for spending some time with me. Not as much time as normal, I know. I do hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Keep your eyes and ears open to what God has in store for you and the many, many ways that God is active and alive in your life and the lives of those around you, and then share it. Bye.